To the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. There. All right. Can we have the secretary perform roll call attendance, please?
Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here. Okay. All right. All board members should have received the minutes from the November 17th meeting. If there's no questions or comments, entertain a motion for acceptance of the minutes.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. So our first item on the agenda this evening is a discussion regarding the O'Donnell Myers Corners Road subdivision. All right. Let's do with that.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening. Okay. All right, as your office has received the resolution from the planner.
I don't know if I did. Copy? Anybody have a copy?
All right, 'cause this should be pretty straightforward.
Nothing crazy?
I think, listen, Mark Day was here for the previous meeting, so, but I guess the resolution, I don't think there's anything.
Or just those
That
two
was jumping.
amendments that we discussed in the previous.
Correct.
Typo and something else?
Yeah,
A typo and something else?
the typo and the amendment to add documentation for the shared driveway.
Yes.
Because apparently that was, the driveway, I believe, was stated that was at the request of Dutchess County, DPW.
Yes.
So we just need something from them that just supports that. Yeah, that will satisfy that, that issue, which I think we're going to add, which is an amendment that needs to be added to the resolution. So, and then the other was, the previous one was, there was on item number 5, the condition number was wrong. It says condition 2, but it actually is supposed to make condition 3. Okay. So, other than that, if,
Standard issue.
those are, I think, the only two real issues there. So, if you're okay with that, then we can go ahead and vote on the amended. All right.
Good on this end.
Nah? Good? Okay. All right, so entertain a motion to approve the amended resolution.
Make that motion.
Okay?
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, so that takes care of that one. Now, the next item on the agenda is Leanne Ventures LLC, 7 Skytop Drive for subdivision of 2 lots.
This is an existing lot on Skytop. It has an existing house on it. And what the applicant would like to do is to subdivide off a new lot for her son to build a new house on. So that's what we showed on the subdivision application. The intent is to connect to central water, need a driveway permit, water permit, and it would have an on-site septic system, which we've done some feasibility testing on-site. Not the best, not the worst soils, but we'll have to have health department involvement on that.
Okay. All right, and you did receive the memo from both the engineer and the planner for this project?
I believe I got the engineer. I don't know if I got Malcolm's letter.
Okay.
Mine was pretty minor. There's a typo to correct in your application form, I believe, on the acreage.
Okay.
Because I think that the overall lot is 1.6 acres. Application form says 1.46. And
That's in the secret form, too.
it's in the secret form, it's in the short EAF.
Yes.
Okay, so you'll want to correct both of those. I think it is 1.6. The math works out on 1.6, and when I check on Dutchess County Parcel Access, it's 1.6. But verify that and correct it where it has been incorrect. And the accessory building on the existing developed lot, can you add confirmation on the plans about the size of that? Because it's compliant with the setback requirements if it's under a certain size, and so we just need to double check what that size is. Height and square footage, please.
Okay. All right, so it's minor.
Minor stuff. Are we in position to
So,
set a public hearing on it, or?
So we have a couple of, one more, the engineer had a couple of questions too to get.
Question, I'm sorry. On the, did I miss on the accessory building, confirm the size and the distance? Did we get a response to that?
I mentioned that to him. I don't know that you know it off the top of your head.
I don't know off the top of my head.
As long as you can confirm height and square footage.
Yeah.
Just know that if it's over 15 feet or if it's larger than 144 square feet, you'll have to rework your lot line in order to meet the side setback requirement.
We'll measure it up and we'll put actual dimensions on it.
Okay, all right, then we had the engineer had a couple of
You got my
comments.
Right? It was mostly just adding notes that we took out from the town code section relative to the water hookup. So we just went through that section and kind of parsed out what we thought were important notes for the plan. The one question that I had was about the drainage channel in the back. So it doesn't really show up clearly with the topo, but it shows up pretty clearly on an aerial. What is that for?
I don't know, was there when we observed the house?
Yeah.
In the locations, I think it's just a direct upland runoff.
Okay.
Looks like it's been there a while.
Yeah, it looked like it had been, but it looks like man-made, obviously. It's pretty straight and, it looks like someone just took an excavator and dug a trench to try to protect the house maybe. But depending on what type of runoff that's conveying, if it's conveying a lot of runoff from uphill, I would think that an easement would be needed. If it's just conveying runoff from lot 1 to lot 2 and not really any uphill runoff, then maybe just a private drainage easement. But if it's conveying a good amount of runoff from uphill properties, it might be a town easement. So
Do you want to just run out there quick and just
it
put a set
probably
of
would
eyes
be
on it?
helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll coordinate offline if the board is okay.
Yeah.
And I can meet him out there and take a look, and maybe I'll ask the highway super if he wants to join us, because if it's a town easement, then ultimately,
Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
should be consulted, because I think he objected to certain easements that he didn't want to do.
yeah, he doesn't. He's not too keen on taking on new drainage easements. But if this calls for that, then we'll have to look at that with him.
Yeah, we could also look at the driveway location too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right, he doesn't want to take any money around that, he has to maintain more or less.
Exactly.
That's right, that's
Yep.
probably not getting any extra help, and,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree.
If it's going to be a town easement, though, where would it end? Because it can't end on the property.
Where it would, exactly. We have to see where it's discharging, what it's conveying. So it's kind of funky,
It might be beyond this property.
right?
So an
If
easement,
it's just discharging to the neighbor's property, then we got to see how much water the thing is conveying. Maybe it needs to be eliminated or rerouted to a town catch basin if it's nearby. So it needs to be looked at. So.
Yeah, there's catch basins in the road. I think there's a catch basin right where our driveway's going to be. So there's avenues to treat it if we need to.
And the concern is that if it is functioning to some degree and protecting, the existing house on that lot, and it's running across the new lot without any easement, the owner of the new lot doesn't want this swale in their backyard, they fill it in, and if it creates issues for Lot A, then you run into a problem. So nothing that can't be worked out. We just need to look at it a little closer to make sure that the right mechanisms are in place, if they're needed. So.
Sounds good.
Okay, all right. All right, so that still has to get taken care of. So then the other question you had was in regard to a public hearing. And I think we're pretty well, it's pretty much what's documented so far pretty much addresses most of the issues unless something comes up. So, B, what would be the first meeting in January? Is that the 5th? Okay, so if everybody is amenable, entertain a motion to schedule a public hearing for January the 5th.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right.
Any possibility that we could jump to Mr. O'Donnell's lot line realignment under miscellaneous?
We were supposed to have some discussion tonight.
Do I need to be present for that?
No, you don't. It's, there was some things that were brought up at the last meeting regarding that in terms of the historic district, and being that that is the only historic district in the town, I think that all the board members have questions that we need to discuss with our staff. Okay. So that when we have that public hearing come January, that we'll have pretty much all the answers that we're looking to have on how to go forward with that. Okay?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Okay. All right, our next item on the agenda is Village Pancake Factory amended site plan.
Good evening, Jamie Machado, architect for the project. I'm here with the owner, Ismael Romain, and Nancy Forrest from the signage company. I heard your shop, but do you want to ask me the questions again?
Yeah, so we had a couple, well, obviously you heard the questions. I guess the bigger one regarding, I guess, the sign out in front.
The freestanding one.
Freestanding, correct. And then it was it's just that, what's that white panel underneath it?
That is nothing, the base, and I spoke to Barbara, well, I know your ordinance anyway, I spoke to Barbara. The white base at the bottom is not counted as square footage.
Okay, all right. And that was as per Barbara?
As per Barbara,
Okay.
and if you read your ordinance, otherwise, like Toyota would be a 100-square-foot sign, The base has never been included in the town.
Okay.
Could you look at rather than a solid mass between the stone and the sign, 2 posts that would hold it up? Aesthetically, it might be better to be able to see through it.
It's far enough off the road that it in no way.
Where it is.
Yeah.
But did you look at 2 posts as
No.
opposed to what you're proposing?
There's 2 posts in it, we just closed them in so it's more attractive. And as long as we're not edging on a highway or an egress or ingress, that a car's pulling out, that would be an issue.
Well, it's a matter of debate whether it's more attractive or not.
Well, I'm just
don't
saying,
happen to think it
the
is.
amount of ones I've done along Route 9 in the town of Wappingers, the majority of them do have an enclosed base, as long as they're back far enough. And there's no, restriction on that. What I submitted to you this last time follows the ordinance completely.
Well, I guess I would ask whether you would consider showing us signage on 2 posts.
No, you don't. You're the owner. Tell them.
Yeah, no, I looked at different ways of how I would like it, and I saw it, like on what's there now on the 2 posts where you could see through it. And for me, that's like more outdated. I'm not interested in any of that.
Outdated in what way?
Well, it's, I wanted a certain way. I wanted to make it look nice, and that's what I chose to look like.
What would happen to the face of that solid base?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Would it be painted white? I mean, what's the,
Just as you
It's
see
just
in the drawing.
exactly in the drawing, it's white.
Just the white with the stone underneath.
And what's the white going to be? Is that going to be some type of a,
It's an aluminum
metal-
product.
it's an aluminum.
It's like an 080 aluminum, it has a car finish on it. Paint-wise, it'll never dull, rust, anything like that. It'll stay that way forever.
are there other examples that you mentioned that mimic this that we could look at?
Subaru or Toyota is a white metal cabinet. It's like 8 feet or 9 feet wide and 10 foot tall.
Mhm.
And that's made out of the same material. That's the closest one I can think of. But any sign, you see that one I did probably 30 years ago, N&S, the base of that is the same thing.
That's Toyota right there.
No.
yeah, okay.
And that sign's, like I said, probably from early 90s, late 80s. Still looks the same, metal on it. Across the street, I think we just did B&B, well, it was B&B Auto. I believe now it's...
North side?
Huh?
North side?
Yeah, now it's north side. A little further up, the base on Acura is an aluminum product as well. I think that's a
Right.
satin
So,
finish aluminum.
Talk into the mic. Oh, yeah.
The Acura sign, I believe it is the tall one on the other side of the road, that's also aluminum,
Yeah.
satin silver and a blue enamel.
My own view is, given where it is located, I think having a see-through between the monument and the sign would have value in terms of being able to see ahead to other parts of that lot.
Actually, it doesn't, because when you do the base as a solid base, it would have more attention than having air between it, because then it's just a 4x6 sitting up in space on two ugly steel poles. I mean, if,
Yeah, I mean, they're showing us some of the other ones that do have infills at the bottom.
there's more than that. I just can't
yeah,
think
I'm
that
just-
quick.
Yeah, I know, once you mentioned a couple of them, I kind of remembered the ones. I mean, we've looked at signs so many times up and down Route 9.
So all I can
Just-
say is
yeah,
I
mean, it's the
designed
one-
it to
yeah,
meet the
it's tough
ordinance.
it's tough for us because Barbara's not here, to confirm the conversation.
It-
That's what and I'm not
You can
not
just read
insinuating
it.
anything, I'm just saying.
It's in the ordinance.
Right.
It's the way the ordinance
Right.
is written. I don't write it.
correct?
The sign itself,
So
the upper
we're into
portion,
just
right. So
aesthetics.
basically, it's anything below it that cannot be a sign. So they can't advertise on anything below
Like you
it.
can't turn it into a reader board later.
No.
Right, correct. That would be the, and then maybe that's just a condition of the approval,
Right.
put it on there, that can never be used, huh?
That's something Barbara would enforce.
Correct, but it would be in writing because it's something that we agree to, that they can have this, but, anything below the 24 square foot sign would, cannot be used for any type of
You
advertising.
just make that a condition.
It's almost like
Yeah.
when people put the two poles and then they get a banner done and they hang it on the two poles and it's hanging.
Right.
The same thing,
Right.
that's not the intent. The intent is just for...
Right. No, I know what you're saying, but it's the same, the intent, listen, but hanging something, a banner there versus having a panel, that all it takes is a couple of screws and now you put another sign on top of that. So as
No,
long as everybody's clear with it, I mean, I think it's okay.
Just to weigh in, as far as, code compliance and the
Yeah.
letter of the code, the section of the code that we're talking about states that should be no taller than 10 feet, composed of no more than 2 back-to-back faces along each street on which the lot abuts, shall be allowed, provided that the aggregate area of each such sign shall not exceed 2 square feet for a linear foot or 25 square feet in total. Aggregate area suggests to me overall mass. And that is the section of the code that I read that gave me pause when looking at this large white section of the sign. That's why I called it out. I can follow up with Barbara, though, because ultimately, it is up to her interpretation as to, you know,
Whether or not-
how this section of the code is to be interpreted and whether or not this would be
And
considered.
that was the section that we were talking about earlier in the workshop that we were reading.
29.2A.
Yeah.
Before I redesigned for the third time for you, I did have a conversation with Barbara, just to reiterate that if we brought the sign down to 24 square feet and left the base, it did not exceed 10 feet, put the stone base around that, that would not be considered signage, square footage. So I did have that conversation with her, so you can ask her.
I'll verify that conversation with
That's fine, yeah, we'll verify, and again, if we
Because
put-
in the last few applications that I can recall, it's the stone base that is not considered part, or the pole upon which a larger sign sits. This is the same width as the sign above it. So I just want to confirm with her that she is interpreting the code this way.
Okay. All right. But then at the same time, I think the condition I mentioned to be put into the resolution should be, I mean, we should add that as well, just
What condition is that?
that anything below the 24 square foot sign that is not going to be used, will not be used for additional signage in the
I agree.
future.
Yeah, if this conversation, you know, if this
Yeah.
is how Barbara is
If that
interpreting
she's
it.
saying that that's okay, then we just do that. And I think that resolves everybody's concerns around the table at this point. I don't know if everybody agrees with that, but
Yeah.
I think that's possibly the simplest.
Yeah, I would also add that the description that you gave, if we are to move forward with the sign as designed, adding a call out to the detail of the sign, describing what that material is, as you just described, and the condition that he just stipulated, right, that this area is not to be used for additional signage, can be on the plans as well.
Okay, do you want me to just do that and send it to Barbara?
I would wait. I'll have a conversation with Barbara.
Okay, I'll call her after you talk to her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that was the sign. So I think and I think the building signs we're okay with at this point, the two different signs, the one at the Pancake Factory entrance and then the other one for the grill entrance on the other side. All right, those were compliant signs as well.
Yes,
Correct.
they're both, because they're both under 50 square feet.
Yep.
There is two of them, but in the pre-meeting, I don't know, if there are two different entrances to two different
Yep.
portions of the business, there's no interior access between, I think for wayfinding, it makes a certain amount of sense to have signage for each.
Correct, yeah. So they know where to go.
I think our biggest concern previously was that the two signs on the building were the same sign. Now they are different, suggesting two different portions of the business to be accessed in two different places.
Yep.
So their sizes are code compliant, they're under 50 square feet, and they read that way.
Okay. Okay. All right, you want to touch on the lighting too, while we're jumping
Yes.
through this?
So I have a couple of lighting notes. One is a small change in the language to the note that you have regarding color temperature. The most important one, though, is, so you've reworked your lighting plan. It looks good. When I look at the plan itself, it looks like the highest levels are 5.1 foot candles, which will still require a waiver as proposed. But the summary table that's at the top of your lighting plan is showing that the max foot candle on the site is 17.5. When I look at the plan, I don't see a reading at 17.5 anywhere, so it's possible that this was an error or, I don't know why. I couldn't find 17.5 anywhere on the plans. I couldn't find anything close to 17.5. But you will want to address that because that's far higher than what you have shown on the plans. That being said, max foot candle, if we can assume that it is 5.1, will require a waiver. There's also instances of minor light trespass in the northeast corner. that would also require a waiver. And that brings it, the parking table, so the apartment has 2 required parking spaces by code. I leave it up to the board as to whether or not you would like the applicant to add signage reserving certain spaces on the site for the apartment, or to continue the parking area to operate as it currently is. But we've got a restaurant use that has required 78 parking spaces. We have 81 parking spaces total, which leaves 3 extra parking spaces for the apartment. They need at least 2, so they're covered as far as the number of parking spaces, but there's no assignment of parking spaces for the apartment specifically.
Correct.
So I leave that up to the board. But that's the end of our letter.
All right, so with the parking spaces, what does the board feel? Do we want them to actually identify the parking spaces on the property?
I think that's his decision.
Okay.
But then if the tenant starts complaining, then he'll put a sign up.
Okay.
Right?
I agree with that.
Okay. All right. All right, so there'll be no need to do that, then as long as everything's listed on the parking table, I think that we're okay. So I guess that will resolve the parking table issue. Okay, so back to the lighting. So with the lighting, I mean, obviously, you're going to have to address the 3,000, the question regarding the 3,000 Kelvin color temperature, that you'll have, proper lighting, but then we need to approve the waiver for the 5.1-foot candles.
I'm going to have to talk to them again. I didn't have time to verify. But previous to this, the numbers were crazy. Find out on their end, the heights were different because one light with the same fixture read 4.9, and the same fixture in another area read 5. All of them read 5 except for a couple of locations, and I didn't see the 5.1, so that might be a mistake. But
Okay.
and the only way I can explain the 17.5 is through my knowledge of the programs I use. I'm not familiar with the programs they use.
Okay.
But in certain cases, when you update, let's say, a plan for counts of doors and whatnot, it updates the Excel file, because you use Excel file quite a bit, between programs. The problem is you need to update the link from the drawing to that Excel file, and I think that was the case here. It wasn't updated. So they gave me a print quickly and forgot to update the link to all associated Excel files that they use. So, but that's my explanation using other programs. That happens to me a lot when I'm updating, to say cut and fill. It works out perfectly, but the Excel file is separate from the drawing, and I have to literally go into part of the program to update the link between the two programs.
That's my suspicion, that it's an error that just needs to be corrected. The
Yeah, I don't know the
5.1,
program that
if you're looking for the 5.1, it's in front of the entrance to the apartment in the rear.
Okay,
So if you look at that door, I think just below that light
okay.
is where the 5.1 is.
But if that's not an error, the 5.1 just needs a waiver?
It would require a waiver. The lighting trespass at the northeast corner is 0.3. It's also very minor, but that would also require a waiver.
Okay. All right, I'll double check on that. I can't give you an answer on that one.
All right. Well, I mean, in regard to the waiver, I mean, maybe we should just, depending upon what you guys feel with the lighting issues, do we want to just issue the waiver now?
Just for the trespass, right?
For the light trespass and the 5.1. I mean, the 5.1, we've issued it for similar things in the
Yeah,
past,
I
so.
don't have a problem with that at all.
Right.
And it doesn't sound like it's in a bad spot.
Right, well, I just looked at the number too, and I was just looking at it, because a lot of the numbers around it are actually a lot less, so. So I don't know if that's, whatever.
Yeah, I can't explain that
Not
either.
sure, I'm not sure why it's
It's
so
just a
high.
hot spot right underneath the fixture, and it's not
Right.
casting light very much.
Yeah. so-
I think that if they wanted to reduce that, they would either have to really reduce the surrounding lighting, or they'd have to find a different fixture. But 5.1 is a very minor
Right.
example of
Yeah,
overlay.
and the rest of it, it's not producing enough light to go to the property line anyway, so.
Not even close,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So at this point, I entertain a motion to approve
I'll move that.
the lighting waiver for both items.
No, second.
Okay, motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Okay, so we've taken care of the lighting issues.
So just double check that 17.5,
will,
but
yeah.
you have a waiver for 5.1. You don't have to worry about that, you don't have to redesign anything for
All right,
that.
thank you.
So we just have to deal with just the one issue on the lighting.
Which I would guess is a typo, is
Right.
left over from a previous plan or something.
Okay. All right. Okay, we discussed all the other issues. Okay, I know that the engineer has some issues that need to get addressed as well.
Yeah, just providing that engineer's report to document the water and sewer. I know that you've provided, it wasn't the last submission, it was either the last or the submission prior, a whole bunch of information on a prior approval, it looked like, of the septic system that was there. And it looked like it was all driving with the seat count and everything that you were proposing, so that just all needs to be memorialized in a letter from an engineer, that is all adequate, that the existing system,
So it's just basically,
it looked like you had done all the work for him. It just needs to be a letter from an engineer that
Okay.
documents that
All right.
the existing system can accommodate what you guys are proposing to do.
if he has any questions, can I have him call you
I was just
directly?
going to say that, yep, absolutely.
Okay. Is there anything else on the engineer portion?
Our last comment letter, it was small things. Again, things that we asked you to document the easements, any existing proposed easements on the site plan. I think you provided information separately about the easements, so just documenting them on the site plan, just what they are, just a list of the existing easements. So, and we had comments on the use table, the zoning table, about just adding more description of the proposed use, the seat count, operating hours, that the existing residences that are to remain on the site, so, outlining all of the uses that are proposed on the site. That was really it. There's only a handful of comments left in our last comment letter, so.
Okay. What was the first part of that?
It's spelled out in our letter, yeah.
Okay. All right. And so, just a quick question to zoning. You want me to break down the use of, the two areas of the restaurant? Because I looked at that as just one entity still. And so you're also referring
It's
to
just
the
a restaurant.
residents?
Yeah, there's a restaurant use, whether that's the different businesses that you're calling it. If there are different operating hours, maybe you can break it down like that, like if business one is open from, whatever.
I think it's all the same, right?
Yeah, so it would just really then be adding the residential use to that
Okay.
zoning table.
Got
so.
it. Understood. So there's nothing else as far as the engineering side of it?
Just whatever is in our letter, yeah.
All right. Okay. I think we're good. Unless anyone else has any questions.
Okay. Well, getting closer. All right, what's the board's thoughts on having the planner draft a resolution, conditional resolution
Yeah.
for this
We're close
project?
enough, right?
Somebody wants to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We don't need a public hearing?
No.
Do we need a public hearing for amended site plan
No.
for this one? No. I don't think, okay. 'Cause I think we thought we'd raised the question once before, but, all right. All right, so with that, we had a motion, a second. Everybody's in favor?
Yes.
Aye? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the planner's going to draft a resolution approval, and in that resolution will be all the conditions that you need to make, that you need to complete in order for it to get the final approval, all right? But as far as the board, after the next meeting, we'll vote on that, and then you'll have to submit everything to the staff. Once they turn around, excuse me, once they turn around and they've reviewed it and everything's satisfactory, then we can go ahead and sign the site plan. Okay? Giving it its final approval. All right?
Understood. Thanks.
All right, no problem.
Will that resolution be based on the information that was submitted already, or are we looking for them to resubmit?
Well, at this point, I mean,
The next meeting isn't until
until December,
January.
until January, sorry,
So
yeah.
I think they would have time
Yeah.
to make a submission, correct as many of these items as possible. On my end, I'm preparing this resolution with the understanding that 17.5 is an error that just needs to be corrected, that the maximum foot candle level is 5.1, which has been waived, that there's a lighting trespass level of 0.3, which has been waived, and that Barbara's interpretation of the signage code is favorable.
So with that, let's say it could be, but they could draft a resolution, let's say, with anything that's been, with anything that's been submitted up until, I don't know, the 20th? I mean, I'm trying to, because you guys need a little bit, you need a little bit of time.
What's the submission deadline for the next meeting in January?
Okay, that will be December 1st today.
Yeah, I knew that was going to,
December 17th will be for the 21st.
So it would just be based on what was submitted already, if we're going for the next meeting, which is,
We can prepare the resolution based on what was submitted for this meeting.
for this meeting, okay.
And the conditions
And
will
then the
include
conditions will be-
compliance with
right.
our comment
Okay.
laws.
right.
Fair enough.
Just wanted to make sure you guys weren't scrambling to resubmit something if the conditions were already going to be based on a prior comment letter. So you just need to show up at the next meeting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, really, the conditions, whatever's put in there, I mean, it's going to add more, but at the end of the day, it's not going to really make a difference because, you guys have to re-review the whole thing anyway
Right.
to make sure, that
Feel
it's
free
going to be
to start
compliant.
working on these, but don't feel obligated to submit something in advance of the next meeting, right? You start working on these comments, but that will be for compliance review, which will come after we vote on the resolution.
But as soon as we're done, we could send it over to B so you guys could start looking at it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
Very good. Okay. All right. So our next item on the agenda this evening is Tassone Court, addition of commercial use, amended site plan.
Good evening. My name is Steve Burns. I represent the applicant for 3 to 7 Tassone Court, the amended site plan. It was previously approved, but unfortunately we were unable to meet the conditions in a timely fashion. So we're back here to try to get a reapproval so that we could get the site legal this time. The site is in the Highway Business Zoning District, is 2.57 acres. It's located on Route 9. It's located on Route 9 across from, I don't even know, just north of Stage Door Road. It's on the northbound side of Route 9. It's, we don't propose to make any changes to the site. There's 5 buildings on the site with residential. 3 of them are residential uses. One is a commercial use, and one is a storage. The parking calculations come out to require 27 parking spots required. What we've provided on the site plan is 20 spaces with one handicap space. For the most part, everything, there's a couple side yard setbacks that are existing, non-conforming. However, the rest of the site is in compliance with zoning.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Is in compliance with the zoning.
No, before that, would you say? What doesn't comply?
There's some side yard existing setbacks.
Well, there's some other things that don't comply.
No, I think that I was just referring to the side yard setbacks.
But there's other things that don't comply. But that's okay, but
There's other things that don't comply?
yes, like the number of residences.
There's 7 units, and that takes up, we're allowed 3 dwelling units per acre. That works out to be 2.33 acres for the...
Yeah, but it's a net acreage for the residential. So it's 1.4 acres for the residential, which is 4 units.
What?
Well, the code says it's the net, you have 2 uses on the property, residential and commercial. It's the net of the residential calculated for the acreage.
Okay.
So if you add up the square footage of the residences, the 3 of them, it's about 1 point, that's about, percentage comes, 1 second. The percentage is about 45%, but that depends upon how much the garage, the garage is for storage?
Yes.
For both uses or just one use?
I believe it's just for the residential use.
Okay. So the residential use is about a little shy of 80%. So anyway, do the calculations, you're still over the net residential use.
I'll look into that.
Well, what we're going to do is put a condition on your approval, and if it's not in compliance, we're just going to note that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what we're looking for is,
We'll figure it out the exact.
yeah, looking for information on the plans, identifying what the maximum, would be permitted under the mixed-use special permit, and to what degree the existing non-conforming exceeds that.
Okay.
But those other non-conforming should be mentioned as well, but the ones he mentioned.
The side setbacks? I think they are in the bulk table.
In the building zoning schedule.
Yeah.
And then I actually have a use and area chart on the plan as well. That's where I was getting the 3 dwelling units per acre and 7 units being 2.33 acres. That's how that's how it was computed with the last approval. I've gone through and I've seen Christian's comments, but I haven't, do you have a comment memo?
I did, but it's very minor. I mean, it's more identifying for the board's sake the history of the project, because the resolution in 2023 was incumbent on you meeting, satisfying the comments in our memo of the time. It appears that those comments have been addressed in this plan.
Okay, yes. And also, I did do a couple things to the plan as far as the Paggi memo. I just rearranged the parking a little bit. So I moved the parking spots in front of building one a little bit out to make it a little bit more, clearer. And what I also did was just to get rid of the question about removing the wall for the banked parking. I just slid those parking spots about 20 feet further into the property to clear the wall.
Okay.
And the area is flat, so there's no real site work required to do any of that.
Okay.
Thank you. The only other item that I have is getting a health department approval. The health department will not issue an approval for the site or an acceptance without the site coming in complete compliance. And in order to do that, it would be a very complicated, expensive ordeal. The use has been there and operated for an extended period of time without any issue. Just to those means.
And I would agree with that. The question that I had was, and it was only because I think that due to the fact that we hadn't seen this application until this submission, so I didn't have a full understanding of the project and what was applied for. So if all of these uses had been existing at the time of the application and they weren't looking for a new use at that time, then I would agree that the health department, that likely their response would be that if it's existing and there's no, or even if there's a change and there's no increase in water and sewer demand, then there's no approval required.
Yeah, so on that one comment, though, I don't remember when this was previously here, there was a change in the use, because that's what brought you here in the first place, was the change from office to personal service.
Yeah, and the personal service had been operating for some time at that point.
I understand that, but it was the reason you came here was because of the change in the use.
Yes.
So, I mean, could the health department, or has anybody looked at just the one particular use? Not looking at all the rest of the buildings on the property, but my question would be, did anybody look at the one building that's now gone from the office use to the personal service use? Is there any change in what would be required for that?
The water usage would be similar.
Okay.
So there's not it's not really there's not a lot of water usage with the spa. So it's going to be similar to having every office filled. There was multiple offices in that building at the time beforehand.
But I was saying, was that documented previously? I didn't look at all the old information. I don't have it in front of me.
That was basically the comment from the prior engineer was that. What is the change in water usage? And will the health department need to get involved? That was basically their comment. So if you could provide what you just said, basically in a letter, and say this was the existing use and this is the proposed use, and provide a calculation for the water usage, and if they're similar, then that's what we need. So,
Right, okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
So I know, right, so because that is technically, I believe, was the only change on the site.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 All right, so you get to take care of that then?
Yes.
All right. All right. Any other things that we're missing here? So obviously, we have some notes that need to get added to the plan.
And a narrative on water flow.
Yep, okay. All right. So with this, do we have to, now we have to reissue a new resolution for this, or
Yeah.
are we extending the current resolution?
I don't believe it's an extension because they've missed that window. I think we
Right,
have
right,
to have a new resolution. I also think that, there are
Amended.
additional conditions, right? There would be amendments to that.
Right, so we should have you produce a new resolution for the next meeting then.
My question is, for Kyle, would we need another public hearing for this? It's an existing non-conforming, but it would be, it's a mixed-use site, it's a special permit, it's existing, but it is being formalized. I don't remember if we had a special public hearing in 2023, or if it was waived. But I leave that up to the board.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at some notes. I mean, this went back quite a while, and then it started out in 21 or?
21, I believe.
Huh?
Yeah, I don't remember if we had a public hearing or not with this.
If you can help us
Would the
out. might be able to-
resolution reference a public hearing?
I'm looking at that.
It would. Let me pull up the old resolution.
Yeah, I got it.
You do?
There's one internal thing I think we have to discuss about how to calculate the percentages. That's a totally
A separate item, yeah.
Before
Barbara
we can
needs
help
to
with
be,
the resolution, we'll have to discuss that.
yeah.
The public hearing for this was waived March 20th, 2023.
It was waived.
Yes, but this would be, essentially, it's not an extension, it's a new application. They're looking for reapproval. I think you would need to either waive the public hearing or hold one.
Is there any residential around there? No, right?
Other than the residential on the site.
I was going to say, that they're the only ones, I believe it's commercial
Yeah,
on both sides of it.
commercial all
And
the way.
behind it is, I think Stage Door Drive goes up behind it.
Yes.
So it's all those properties.
That's all
backs
So
up
we're going to still have to have some internal discussion about it.
regarding the calculation.
So I would suggest, why don't we have a public hearing? Never hurts, because we don't need the time anyway.
Okay. Is everybody else in agreeance with that?
I agree with that.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't normally discuss things during a public hearing.
No, that's not, the discussion will be.
Yeah. So no, but he's saying just that,
Okay.
listen, it's not going to hurt anything at this point, I guess? If it's coming back as another application?
Sure.
And then at the same time, that can address, so that gives, public, opportunity to comment, or the residents. Maybe the residents have an issue with something's going on that site, so.
Yeah, true.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Okay.
So how,
I'll make a motion, we schedule a public hearing.
okay. Well, hold your thought, because of the date, I just wanted to confirm with so with the.
Does he need to make a submission prior to the public hearing?
Yeah, he would need a,
Probably, correct? Well, he's already got
I
the
think he
submission.
could go to public hearing with the site plan in front of us.
that he has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So my question is, how many things do we have on for the January meeting so far?
So far, I have 3 items.
But they're public hearings, yeah?
We have an adjourned public hearing for O'Donnell
Yeah.
Yep.
and Hudson Valley, Volkswagen. It's just a discussion.
Okay.
And then Iglesias, the church and ID.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, we could do this too.
And I
then.
have a couple of conceptuals that I'm going to be putting on that came today.
Okay. All right. So, and today was the, excuse me, today was the submission deadline for that meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
So
then we do the one after.
Okay, all right. So with that, then, back to your...
Which one?
So we'll do the January 5th.
Okay, motion to schedule a public hearing on January 5th.
Okay. Motion's made. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Would there be any possibility, if there is no public outcry, that we could kind of settle up, close out the public hearing and possibly, have a resolution to...
Hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard, I was gonna say, well, I mean, we could always have it drafted, but I think we have the one open, which was just brought up earlier about the calculations for the, percentage commercial versus residential. I think we need to get Barbara to weigh in on that.
Yeah, and I can speak to her between now and then, but, I want it to be calculated accurately and put on the plans, but regardless of what that calculation says, how many more residences they're over by, it's still a pre-existing non-conforming use.
Correct.
That they're not modifying, so it would
We're just
not.
going to note that, that's all.
It's just making sure that the note on the plans is accurate as interpreted by the zoning administrator. So, I mean, I can work on that between now and then and make that a condition of the resolution, that this note, as stated
Right,
here,
it has
is
to be
on the
put on
plans.
there for compliance, but,
Let me just give you what I see as the issue of calculating. He's got a table on here, and it gives the square footage of each use. My question is, the tenant storage, which he says is for the residential, does that count as part of the calculation of the lot area or not?
I believe it would go towards the residential portion of the calculation.
The mixed use says the residential does not exceed 3 dwelling units per acre of net lot area devoted to the residential component.
Yeah.
So does the garage included in that?
So the way that I would calculate this would be to look at the FAR of commercial use in the zone and see how much of the total lot area needs to be devoted to the commercial use. And that gives you what is left over, and then you would calculate how many per lot. Net, I think, is referring to netting out environmental constraints like floodplains, wetlands, which I'll double check, but I don't believe there are any on this site.
No.
That is what would affect the net calculation.
Okay.
But after that, it becomes how much area of the site is dedicated to the commercial component to satisfy the FAR requirement.
It's
and then how much is left
0.237
over.
acres. 0.237 acres has been devoted to the site for the commercial use.
That's the total site area?
Yeah, and then it's a FAR of 0.4.
Yeah, so how much of that total acreage is required in order to satisfy, to not go over the FAR requirement for the commercial use? That gives you whatever's left over in acreage, and you would calculate how many units per acre would be allotted. Now, I still think, though, that the special permit for mixed use has a requirement that at least 25%.
So the minimum would be 25%.
But it's pre-existing non-conforming, so if it's under or over, that would also need to be on the plans, that it does not satisfy that 25%. But
right, but I know where he's coming from.
We'll check that.
It's basically, so if there's a number that's not conforming, I mean, document it on the plan, that way in case in the future, now they change a use, from one to another, or they plan to change it from one to another, somebody goes back to review it, they might not be able to do it because it's already been calculated out.
yeah, and I think that all of that would weigh into the decision, but at the time that they did that, I think they would need to, if they wanted to modify the plans, they would need to propose a conforming special permit application. If they wanted to come in and modify this and increase it, I don't think they would be able to.
Yeah, because, right, but that, in theory though, if that ever happened, then this plan should be submitted with the application for any proposed changes. Right, okay. All right.
So, all that being
So
said,
with that-
would you like a resolution
So that
for
would be the-
consideration?
Yeah, so is everybody comfortable with having the planner draft a resolution? If so, then, okay, somebody make a motion to have the planner draft a resolution.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion's made. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second, okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, so we'll be all set, and we'll see you on the 5th.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right, our next item on the agenda this evening is 10 Stage Door Road, amended site plan. Good evening.
Bill Povell, engineer for the applicant. We're here tonight for the 10-Stage Door Road building. It's the second building on the right side or the east side of Stage Door when you drive up. Right now, the building's being used by Durant's Tents and Events, Giggles, and a small storage area for a service contractor. Yep, thank you. So we're here tonight to propose change in tenant where Durant's Tents and Events would take over the whole building minus the small space by the service contractor. And they'd be taking over the Giggles space because Giggles will be moving out of that building. In doing so, they're going to continue to maintain the existing uses in the building that Giggles has now. So Giggles has space for warehouse and storage, they have some space for office, and they have a small space for retail sales. So what Durant's would do is redistribute internally within the building the same square footage for each use. So they would take over Giggles' office for their office. They would take over the warehouse to expand the warehouse that they have now. And then the retail space would be converted to a display area or a showroom that's associated with the displays that are set up for renting chairs and tables and plates and dishes, et cetera.
Okay.
So ultimately, the use, the overall use it'll still be the same, but it'll all be for Durant's versus split up between.
Right, just the tenants are going to change.
Right.
Okay.
Therefore, we aren't proposing any changes to the parking allocation, and we're not changing making any changes to the septic, because there'll be no use changes in either.
So, I mean, just, huh? What? Oh.
I'm not even paying attention to it.
There you go. Just X that out. Just X that out. Yeah, X that out.
Okay. All right, so, I mean, we're looking, just
Right,
from
so-
what I was looking at, it looked, for the majority of what you're looking to do, it's just basically where the, fill in where the loading
Yeah,
dock.
so with that changeover in the space internally, they'd be looking to fill in 2 of the loading docks in the center of the building, so they have at-grade access to the overhead doors. Because back in 2017, we were here for 3 loading dock doors, which are in now. So
Yep.
they have them for loading docks, they just would need to have these 2 doors for at-grade access.
Okay.
And then with that, they would look to add 2 more window units to match the existing window unit that exists now. And that would be in the showroom area, just to provide natural light and just open it up visually. And Lastly, they would be taking down the Giggles sign and the blank sign that's there now and put up a new wall sign that complies with the signing regulations.
And the new wall sign would be,
For Durant's Tents and Events.
yeah, I was going to say, but that would be the same size as what's currently there?
It's a little bit bigger than the sign that's there now. It's a total of 30 square feet. But they'd be taking down the Giggle sign altogether. So they'd be dropping from 2 signs to 1 sign. And the 30 square, right now the building's 300 feet long. So at 2 square feet, that puts you over the 100-foot threshold. So the 100 square foot threshold on the wall signing would govern. And then, so this sign would be 30 square feet. So it's about a third of what the allowable is.
Right. Okay, so I mean, it's really, it's going to be a lit sign, or?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what currently are there, the internally lit?
Don't believe right now it is, the Giggle sign is lit, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But it's going to be similar, it's going to be internally lit versus
Yes, yeah.
having some other lighting on the outside of it? Okay. All right.
So what about the parking? Can you explain the parking? Is it, do you have enough parking or not?
So right now, there's 34 existing parking spaces, and if you do the code calculation, it comes out to 58 spaces are required. When we went through the planning board process back in 2017, the board approved the 34 spaces with also proposing 4 additional bank spots that could be built in the future if needed. So that brought it up to 38 parking spaces. Right now, they anticipate using a little more than half of the parking spaces that exist now, so they're going to be well within the parking that's out there.
Okay. I mean, the contractor is there, he doesn't use a lot of parking.
He actually, he's there now 1 day a week, and it's just storage, so he doesn't really work out of there. He drops things off and picks things up at the, so he doesn't even park
Basically
there.
a warehouse space for him.
Right.
Okay.
So ultimately, again, except for that small portion, it's all going to be for Durant's.
Okay.
There's an error in my comment memo.
I was just going to,
I pulled 19.
Actually,
It's listed in the parking schedule, I'm sorry.
Right. That's actually a drafting error.
Okay.
So I will fix that on the next set of plans.
Okay.
There was a 19 that was in the text that needs to
No
come
worries.
out.
So required by code is 58.
Right.
58, you have 34 with another 4 land banked,
Right,
for a total of 38.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And that was, I mean, that was approved, that was waived, so there was a parking waiver at the time of the last.
In 2017.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have that, obviously, the approved site plan?
Yeah, we do, and this plan was prepared from, because we did, we worked on the 2017 plan.
So one of my comments was about, if you have that plan, if you have that information, if you can add existing landscaping and existing lighting, if those sheets are in the original, just for posterity, just so that when we then amend it again and look back, we can look at this one and have that information.
I don't believe we had shown any landscaping during the last site plan.
Okay.
Because that was existing at the time, and again, that was just a matter of adding the 3 loading
adding the
dock
garage, it was adding the loading docks at that point.
So that would have to be something that we would have to add.
Okay. My only concern then is that it's a few iterations of the plans since landscaping has been shown, and for enforcement, for maintenance purposes.
Understood.
I think it would be useful to have. Same thing with lighting, if you have lighting from 2017.
Okay.
I mean, I expect that you're going down in truck size using, if you're filling in the loading bays, but do you have any concern with the way that retaining wall is going in for site circulation, turning templates?
No, it's just a short 2.5-foot retaining wall, and the only reason why we're proposing it is it allows us to save 1 or 2 parking spaces that would be next to it. We could actually do this without the retaining wall, but we would have to lose 2 parking spaces. And being that we're already under the number, we thought we would do that. And like I said, at its highest point, it's only 2.5 feet. And we proposed, it doesn't extend out into any drive aisles the way I designed it or laid it out.
Okay.
And we are proposing concrete-filled steel bollards at the end of it as protection.
Okay.
We're putting one on the new proposed wall, and then we would add a bollard to the existing wall that's going to stay.
Would you be able to add a turning template, a site maneuverability?
Absolutely.
Yeah, just a little call out.
There's a lot of space there for truck maneuver.
Yeah.
So we can easily add that.
And then the only other thing for the board is that the waiver was approved. They're maintaining the same uses, but you're shifting things around, you're amending the site plan. I may be wrong, but it would be a good idea to reaffirm that waiver, that parking waiver.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I mean, we could waive the parking, because again, it's a warehouse for the most part.
Yeah.
It's not a full-out, retail building where you need that much parking. So I don't think that's an issue. All right. Christian, you touched on your comments?
Yeah, my only real comment was just to provide the prior site plan and resolution, just to compare it to. So other than that, we didn't have any engineering comments, so.
All right. Okay. Any board members have any questions for the applicant? No. No? All right.
Seems like an easy one.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, here's the question. I mean, really, I don't see much for the board to really get involved with here. I mean, it's just basically filling in the front, everything else. A lot of it's just providing, plans, previously approved plans, to put with this application for compliance. I don't think there's a need for public hearing for this. It's,
The only thing that's triggering site plan really is the change to
the exterior.
the grading, I think.
Yeah.
That's really, but otherwise, if that wasn't happening, this would just be probably a building permit for fitting out the interior.
For fitting out the interior, correct.
Adding windows.
Right.
Change the sign, too.
And change it, they had to come back for change of sign.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Which is, if it's code compliant, I think it's just a sign permit application.
Okay.
I was going to say, because it's not every sign that comes
it's
here.
just okay.
It's
Then,
coming
yeah.
in for the amended site plan, so they throw it
on there.
We throw it on here just to do it, but if it was only for a sign, they would just take out a sign permit. So what's everybody's feeling about authorizing the planner to draft a resolution with the conditions that were discussed this evening? Yeah? Okay, somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion. I'll second that.
Okay. Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Also, do we entertain a motion to reaffirm the parking waiver, which was issued back in 2017, that there's no requirement to address any of the parking issues on site?
I'll move that.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I think that was it, right? We have another public hearing?
What did you guys decide to do?
Oh, well, I don't think there's a need for a public hearing either, so we
I'll
could,
make a motion.
we could waive, Paul's making a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, I think that takes care of all the,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Have a good night.
All right, you too. Okay, fix that one. All right. All right. Our next item on the agenda this evening is,
It's your favorite one.
well, yeah, my favorite one. Yeah. Okay, we have the Houstonville Fire District Coordinator Review for firehouse replacement.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. Just to start off, introduction for myself, because I haven't formally met everyone here. I'm Jeff Senlewski. I'm an associate architect with Senlewski Architects. We're an architectural firm that's been working with over about 150 fire districts over 40 years. So this is our line of work. Most recently, we've been working with the commissioners over at Houstonville Fire District on the very early stage preliminary planning for a new firehouse facility. The reason for being here tonight, more for just a discussion regarding the SECRA package that was sent out. We know that there was a response in terms of a lead agency denial for the fire district. We had sent out the SECRA package. I do have copies of the site plans that were included with that package with me for distribution if anyone needs them. But more recently, the correspondence that we sent out last week, I know it was before the holiday, so I'm not sure how much you were able to dive into it. But really just putting together basically our position just regarding the lead agency for our client for the Houstonville Fire District. So where we're at with the project at this point, being very early stages in the preliminary design, is that we've established the overall program needs based on what we've reviewed with the commissioners. And we're at the point with the SECRA process where the intent is to put forward a resolution to the public for a bond referendum vote in order to fund the project and potentially move forward with getting them a new firehouse facility that they desperately need. In order to do that, we obviously have to close out the SECRA process. And that's where we're at this point. We're pretty much at a standstill until we know which direction we can go. What we included in the correspondence from last week is in addition to the short environmental assessment form that was previously distributed, where within that we pretty much outlined all the what we see as the environmental impacts of a new project. Looking at the existing site at 88 Old Hopewell Road, it's obviously currently serving as their main firehouse. The operations, occupancy, and the intended use of that property would remain the same. It's essentially replacing what is an antiquated building that they're struggling to operate out of efficiently with a new modern-day facility that can house all the program and the response necessities that they have. At this point, with the denial for the lead agency, we wanted to have the discussion as to if there were any concerns, what the concerns were with the fire district serving as the lead agent. We've done plenty of projects where it is typical that the fire district, being a governing agency that funds and coordinates the process of their own facility, serving as a lead agent. We understand that there's always concern with a Board of Fire Commissioners or a building committee in a fire district that would be heading a project of this magnitude, which is not the intent here. We've been working with them to this point as the architects. We always have on board our engineers, be it site and building systems engineers that are involved throughout the entirety of the project. In preparing the site, the preliminary site plans that we included, we've been working with Beatty and Watson, who's familiar with the site and I'm sure familiar with doing work in this area. And that would be our intent moving forward. Basically requesting that the initial decision for lead agency be retracted and awarded to the Board of Fire Commissioners of Houstonville. And obviously with us and the engineers involved, our intent would be to go throughout the entire full process that you would normally go throughout with any project, coordination with building, planning, and all the other jurisdictions that have involvement in the projects. There's no intent on the district side to control the project beyond what would normally be allowed with local codes and permit review processes. I'm not sure if there's specific
I
questions.
mean, I think I think everybody's question was, what's going to happen with the site plan itself? Will you be submitting for a site plan approval?
Yeah.
I think that's number one. I think that was some of the concerns that were brought up. One of the other issues, I guess, is too with the, you submitted the short form for the environmental assessment and not the environmental assessment form produced by the DEC mapper. So when you run it through the mapper, there does show as environmental issues on there. Are they going to be identified and then incorporated onto the plan?
Yeah, as we go through that process, we would be coordinating with the DEC. That's part of the jurisdictions that we do all our coordination with. Which issues would come up that you would see as part of an environmental concern on that property?
Right, okay, so I mean, it raises a couple of questions. I had a conversation earlier with our attorney. I guess again, is it the qualifications of the professionals, I guess, that are looking at this? Because obviously the Board of Commissioners, again, it's not they're not the qualified individuals. Is there something that we need to get assurances on for this portion of it at least?
Well, yeah, as we discussed, I think this can definitely be worked out in terms of agreeing to your district running the secret point, provided that there are some assurances that you're going to comply with, including the DEC guidance that's been provided, also with the mapper, and address any of those other issues. I would suggest also that in coordination, because it would be coordinated with the planning board. Planning board is an interested agency, obviously. So, to the extent that that you've whatever issues you may have identified and/or mitigated, that those be provided or to the planning board, so this way the planning board can, keep tabs on that stuff. And then ultimately, also obviously, I think which, as the chair mentioned, is to just ensure that when you go forward with the site plan, that application is, obviously filed and processed through the planning board process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, I think with that in mind, what I would suggest and what I propose to the chair is, I'll just simply do a letter that outlines, I think, what we all are in agreement on now. Say, you guys agree with this? You come back and say, yep, we agree with that, which is just basically everything you've just said, coupled with what we've said. And then my recommendation would be, at that point, that the planning board then withdraw with their objection to serve as the lead agency, and you guys can then move forward with that. Obviously, if anything comes up during the site plan process that identifies some sort of an environmental issue that may have been overlooked or needs more further study, there's always the possibility that may have to be reopened, but it's not necessarily the case. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, and that is typically not typically, that's always the process we go through on every project. It's not the first project like this that we've had. Again, we've been working primarily with fire districts over 40 years. So this is always something that we go through. We always check the boxes when it comes to all the, not only the state agencies that have involvement, whether it's with DEC or county highway permits and things like that, but planning departments, building departments, and all the necessary reviews that take part as part of the local governing agency are always our top priority.
And Jeff, I'm not familiar with I haven't seen the plans itself, but that my one concern I do have though is it's probably going to be unlisted, and is it really going to be appropriate for a short form EAF? I mean, obviously that also protects you and your client to make sure that that's done thoroughly as well, so this way there's no future liability issues.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, and we've started the process as part of the initial application, because I know that at one point there were some concerns there's some portions of the site that have wetland areas, other portions of the site based on the Badley-Watson survey that have indicated flood zone areas, but we looked into that as part of even preparing the initial draft site plan. Keeping that in mind, again, knowing that that's going to come into play with approvals and permits later on, so being mindful of not designing even initially in the
So
preliminary stage.
those weren't shown on the plan, though, correct?
Yes, so on the site plan that was with the SECRA application, we designate the wetland area, which is very minimal. It's along the backside of the property, and everything, including site development of hardscaped areas, especially the new proposed building, is outside of that area. And
But
then
is it outside of the wetland buffer as well?
the wetland buffer, when I looked at the survey, they had it delineated only along the back portion of the property. We're maintaining about 20 feet or so beyond that before we even have any of the hardscape area.
That was a question. All right, that's
Just be aware, looking at it on the mapper, it looks like Army Corps wetland in the back, which typically doesn't have a buffer.
Okay.
But that, if it's an Army Corps wetland, it's also a town wetland, so there's a 100-foot buffer off of that.
Okay. Yeah, and then they did have
New York State has their new wetland requirements, and they
want to get jurisdiction from them.
And the few that have been in this area that we've seen have come back positive because it's considered an urbanized area. So
yeah, so it's probably also a DEC.
Probably a state wetland too.
And I know that on the Badley and Watson survey, they had indicated what was considered the type X FEMA flood zone, which is outside of the 100-year flood zone. But even, again, being mindful of that, anything that would be at elevation 165 or below is considered basically to not have any effect on that current flood zone area. We would be maintaining our new construction building far outside of that. Even on the current proposal, we were looking at using an elevation of 171 finished floor, keeping it 6 feet above even what's the closest maximum to what the FEMA flood zone is. But again, that's not a type A zone, so it's considered a very minimal flood zone at that location, but still being mindful again of what we know we're going to encounter as we go through the planning process. And again, that comes into play with every jurisdiction, even with planning board and looking at site lighting, and we're looking into knowing how we're going to control our stormwater runoff and sanitary, completely revamping the on-site sanitary that's currently there. So the intent is really just a full building replacement with very little impact beyond how the site currently operates at this point.
Okay.
Will submissions be made to the town, to the planning board, prior to a secret determination being made by fire department?
A full site plan submission?
Will additional any information, because the letter that was submitted, I know you guys are eager to conclude your seeker process. Mm-hmm. So will you be making a submission to the planning board for feedback prior to the fire department making a seeker determination?
I guess that's something I guess we're looking to discuss at this point is what would be necessary in order to move forward that. Was everyone here able to see what was included in the original SECRA package? Because that did have all the initial site and at least initial building design information included with that.
I think that's what's raised a lot of these initial questions. So information that would address a lot of those questions in order to make it a determination on the potential environmental impacts of those questions, like proximity to wetlands, proximity to floodplain. The town acts as the administrator for floodplain development, so they'd be issuing the floodplain permit, development permit, if there is any development within the 100-year floodplain, but if it's out of the floodplain, and that's documented, that should check that box too. But so it was just really a question, not just for you, but also for Kyle and the board, as to, because I mean, if they are the lead agency and the town is just an interested party, is there no requirement?
No, well, I mean, if it's a coordinated review and you guys are, are running as lead, obviously, if you made a determination before we had an opportunity to review the final package, we wouldn't really be involved in it at all, would we? So it just, yeah, that makes sense. When do you guys meet did you guys meet on a monthly basis, or when's the next time you?
We have been meeting on a monthly basis up until the SECRA process. Now we're just at a standstill, not knowing where.
So you're ready to make a determination?
We would be ready to make a determination, but we also are mindful of the fact that we want to coordinate it, as I said, with the local agencies. So we do have, as part of that secret package, we did the engineering to the point where we have full, more than preliminary site plans, drainage plans, sanitary calculations, all the things that you would see as part of a initial site plan application, even including lighting plans and such. We have that all put together, and that would be easy to package and send over.
So perhaps do that, and along with what your proposed determination is going to be, so this way you can give that to us in draft form. Sure. And, your part 3.
Okay.
And then that'll give the board an opportunity and the consultants to take a look at it. If there's any feedback, we can offer it. Obviously, what you guys do with it from there is relevant. And then we get out of your way.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. We'd be happy to do that.
Okay. All right. So I guess at this point, we'll just wait for him to submit that, and we'll go from there.
I would recommend a full EAF as opposed to the short, which we received.
That's definitely something I think that's necessary, is a full EAF on
Full
this.
EAF Part 1 with the EA attachment.
Okay.
EA mapper attachment.
And that also protects you as well, you guys, for any issues that you may have. And then if it's if you have a draft resolution, not in addition to the Part 3, if you're going to do a separate draft resolution for the neg deck, assuming that's the determination you're going to be making, if we could just get a look-see at that so we could offer any comments as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we can start working on that right away.
Terrific.
For us, it's the quicker we can get it to you and help the process along is beneficial for everyone. And that's our intent throughout the whole process, is to provide whatever is necessary. So,
Okay.
that's fine.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Next item we have for the miscellaneous agenda is the Casa Amigos Restaurant. I guess that one is the...
So, yeah, I think that there's been some continued miscommunication between the applicant. Unfortunately, I think the reason is that Barbara is not as available as she had been, and she's usually the one who fields this call, right? So I've been speaking to the applicant, and I was under the impression that you all had voted on a resolution, we put conditions in that resolution, and if they wanted, whenever they wanted, to come back for the seating addition and the rooftop addition, they would come back, that would essentially be treated as a separate project.
Yeah, that's what we said.
He has misunderstood that and submitted phased plans, and if we're going to vote on approval with phasing and a public hearing, but the public hearing is just on phase 2, that is not going to work for us, and it's not going to speed anything up, and it's just going to complicate things.
All right, okay, so it was, okay, because if they were to do phase 2, then a public hearing was going to be required.
Then if we're going to, yeah,
that was going to be
if phase 2 is going to be part of this approval, then we need to have a public hearing for phase 2.
Absolutely.
There was never any discussion of phases.
Yeah. So
I do remember talking about if they were to do the other phase, that the public hearing would be required because of the apartments behind and the house to the left.
So this was all started because over the holiday, he sent me new plans with the titles, phase 1 and phase 2, and, I thought he understood. So she put it on the agenda for discussion, but I think that the solution is to call him and explain that here's the resolution, it was voted on, it was approved, this has been approved, this is done.
Right.
Come back with a new application for your addition.
For the addition later on.
Whenever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, because then they did mention something about a money issue, right?
They floated the idea that they weren't ready to move forward with the addition right away, and so we said, all the better, come back whenever you're ready for that. And then they said, wait a minute, we've spent all this money on review, let's get approval for the addition while we're here. And we said, sure, but we'll schedule a public hearing for that. And they said, whoa, wait a minute. So it's been a lot of waffling, I think, but I think that it's pretty cut and dry, and it just needs to be another phone call with the applicant to explain that to them.
Seems to me there would have to be some construction issues that would have to be dealt with in phase one prior to the rooftop happening. That would have to be included in the first phase. That everything is kind of tripping over each other with this thing.
Well, I think the rooftop addition is kind of a misnomer, right? Because the addition was an interior dining room with a rooftop on top.
Right, and a set of stairs.
Phase one, or what has already been approved, had no modification to the building footprint apart from the bathroom and the kitchen, which were slightly bumped out to accommodate the walk-in freezer and a couple more stalls.
I'm just trying to remember, did phase two, did they need, was the entrance going to be affected by phase two, or they were going to be able to work clear of the entrance and not have to relocate anything?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, I was just out of curiosity, because then if they go to come back.
I think the entrance does go through the addition, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I can pull it up, but
It just makes it more complicated when they come back for the addition later on, if they're already open. That was just my question.
I think I'm wrong. I think you're right. I think the entrance is separate, but let me.
It's separate, yeah. All right. I mean, it's here and there, but I guess.
A lot to discuss.
Yeah, so I think it's, all right, so basically it comes down to is they're looking for some type of a final approval. But is it the approval for the minor amendments that were made?
You voted to approve the minor amendments to be made, right?
Right.
Yes. You voted on a resolution that approved the restriping, the repaving, the new lighting, the relocation of the dumpster enclosure, and the new sign, the moving of the existing sign and the change of the sign, and the addition, the bump out for the
bump out for the bathrooms.
Bathroom and the kitchen.
Yeah. Okay.
That's been approved. They have, if they're willing to move forward with that.
Okay.
That resolution has been approved with conditions. They just need to meet those conditions in compliance. It just needs to be explained to the applicant that that's not phase one.
It wasn't a phased approval.
That's an application that has been completed.
Yeah.
The addition will look very familiar when you come back because we've looked at it already, but that's a new application.
So just let them know they're going to make a new application.
Yeah.
Right.
Case closed.
Okay. So, all right, so then somebody's got to reach out to them, just let them know that this is where we're going to go with it. And then we can turn around and then they could come back later on if they decide to do the addition.
The entrance is separate from the addition.
It is, okay.
Yeah. There will be an extra emergency exit with the addition. But the existing entrance is not affected.
So they could technically build that addition without affecting the front entrance?
Yeah.
Okay. So it could be done in the future without any real issue. There's nothing would have to be changed on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the parking changes with the addition, rooftop?
Well, so we waived the parking count because they were over parked, but they were actually reducing the amount of impervious surface, right? So we waived the parking requirement, and when they come back for the addition, those parking improvements will accommodate that addition and then some. Yeah.
Right, so there's no parking issue in the future?
No. They're addressing the parking for that addition. In the maintenance and the repaving of the existing parking area.
Okay. All right, so I guess they just need to...
I'll just reach out to the applicant and explain.
Okay. All right, and then that would be a resolution that you would just bring forward to us because we already approved it.
Yeah, I think that resolution draft has been finished, and I sent it to be that amended resolution that was voted on. You're talking about quote unquote phase one?
Okay, so we did a vote on that?
Yeah.
We voted on that amendment?
Pretty sure.
I just don't remember.
I mean, we authorized it, I don't recall.
I was going to say, I remember authorizing, I didn't think we,
I could be wrong. I could be remembering that wrong. I thought you voted on it as amended, but if not, and you just authorized it, that resolution is prepared and you can take a look at it.
okay. Yeah. Let's see if there's a...
We did vote on the resolution.
I thought so.
Oh, we did vote on it? Okay. All right, but that resolution was for just for the basics that we discussed and not
for
the
site
addition.
improvements.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It did not include the addition.
So he just needs to make his plans
The conditions of that resolution were
to fit the resolution.
show us plans that
Okay.
don't have an addition and meet all of these other requirements.
Okay.
And
All right. All right, so that's, okay. All right, so that takes care of that. That basically then. So the other miscellaneous item we had was the O'Donnell Wheeler Hill, the discussion regarding the historic district.
yeah.
So I kind of did a little research on that one. And I'm not sure if you're aware of it. So there's this current zoning map. It shows, at least the one that's on the town website, it shows a historic overlay district, but it says proposed. Was that ever, do you know if that was ever approved? Because I don't see anything in the town code that addresses that historic overlay.
I looked for it, I didn't see it.
Okay.
I don't see it in the code. I went through, and Malcolm and I discussed this earlier, I looked at the comp plan, I went through your code.
Yeah.
I don't see anything that imposes any additional restrictions on this subject property at all.
Okay, yeah. So, being that it is listed on the National Historic Register, so, we were forwarded the application that was submitted, and then I kind of did that, the little research, because it was only an application that was given to us, and then I do see that in 2002, they approved the application. So, so it is technically listed, and I guess the town code does address,
It's a historic
does address it as a historic, so it is a historical area.
Right.
So, which I believe would be subject to architectural review in the future?
The historic, architecture and historic review section of our code looks at architectural review and site plan review. I do not believe that, excuse me, I do not believe that single-family residences are subject to architectural review or site plan review.
Okay.
So my biggest takeaway from reading that section of the code is that there is a section of the code that gives the planning board additional review power on historically protected buildings and areas within historically protected districts, but that does not extend, it covers everything other than single-family residential structures. And as far as I know, the only buildings in the town that are in the historic district or are protected historic structures are single-family residential structures. So the section of the code, in the way that I'm reading it, doesn't seem to do much in the context of our town, only because the only buildings that are protected are single-family residences, and the code is written to not govern single-family residential structures. That section of the code also offers the planning board the ability to, make recommendations to the town board to enhance the protections of historic structures and historic districts, which I think noticing this inconsistency might be a really good reason to write a letter to the town board. But I also, it would not necessarily, it could not be with respect to this application.
Well, it could be in respect to it, because they haven't, all they're doing is the subdivision now.
Well, that's
They
what
have not submitted any plans yet.
That's what I mean. Currently, there is no proposal to modify a historical building, historically protected building.
Right.
They're just realigning a lot line that subdivision does not trigger site plan review, architectural review.
Correct, yeah.
I think that even if the town board were to look at incorporating additional architectural review or even site plan review for single-family residential buildings in a historic district, that, even if that existed currently, it would not affect this application because there is no proposed modification.
Yeah, but a future application that they submit, it will.
So let's say, so let's say they do the lot line realignment today,
Yeah.
which the historic section doesn't apply to anyway, in terms of the realignment. But let's say now, down the road, let's say the town board goes and follows through with that overlay district, and they put some additional regulations on it.
Or any recommendation that you make to them, yeah.
Right, then at that point, that might require them to come back.
Depending on how the town board were to draft that code amendment, yeah.
Okay.
It could be triggered by opening a building permit. It could say that lots in a historic district need to get site plan approval or need to get architecture review from the planning board. I mean, it could be written in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
But, and I'm, very comfortable with being wrong, but the way that I read this section of the code, there doesn't seem to be any ability for the planning board to review single-family residences in historic districts or even if they're historic structures.
So, like tonight, can we authorize him to do a draft on a letter?
Yeah, we
to the
could.
town board that would give us that?
Right, to ask them to...
Just get that in motion.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, to have them to enhance that chapter to give us the ability to do so, number one. And number two is if they're planning on revisiting that overlay district, which would provide, which could additionally provide additional information.
Additional protections.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give us.
I mean, there are a lot of things that could be put into an overlay, like a historic overlay district, if adopted.
Yeah.
But even just enhancing the review, the architectural review power of the planning board.
That's exactly
for a
right.
historic district by itself. Yeah.
Or providing the ability for single-family homes versus it just being a site plan.
But I agree with that entirely, but I think we should go a step beyond and not just, and also make a case to the town board that to consider the overlay district, establishing overlay districts and code that goes along with it to regulate predictable criteria that regulates future development in these historic areas. And like you say, it could be written in any number of ways, but I think for this planning board to make a statement like that, it can at least put it before the town board in a formal way to have them consider it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it wouldn't necessarily affect this site, but by the time the site gets developed, maybe something's in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they can do that amendment fairly quickly if we're just looking at the overlay for the historic district and considered as one-family houses. Because most anything that we're looking at is zoned one family right now anyway. That's in these districts that we'd want to protect.
Correct.
I took a look at the Wheeler Hill Historic District. It's the only historic district in the town, and I believe it is all single-family residence. I mean, it's all residential. There's no commercial.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, at some point in time, it was very important for them to mention it in the comp plan back in 2010.
2011, 2010.
Yeah, whatever. But, I mean, they put it there. Again, it was picked up on the National Historic Register for that area. And it looks like they had plans to do something because, again, it's noted on a zoning map, as proposed. And it's just like never got followed through for some reason.
Yeah.
Must have been an oversight on the single-family part of it.
Well, to me, it makes a certain amount of sense because it gets your architecture outside of historic districts. You only do architectural review and site plan review on everything that isn't a single-family residential structure. Right?
I mean, we want them.
So unless they add it specifically.
We want it to look like an old farmhouse, not like one of these monstrosities.
I mean, the only other time that this came up was the Over Creek Brewery, because it was going to be a commercial use. And that was in the historic district, and that was also listed in the historic district. Two of those buildings were contributing buildings to the historic district.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they had to go through, but that was also, I mean, there was seeker review, there was site plan review, there was,
And there was.
OSHA, not OSHA.
Yeah, SHPO.
SHPO got involved.
Yeah, because I did see that on their website, that there was documentation
Yeah.
from that process. Yeah, the only other application I know of in that area was one of the former supervisors, Richard Thurston, when he used to own the house down on the end, on a sharp turn there. He tore the old house down and rebuilt it, and I believe he had to go in front of the planning board at that time to rebuild the house. I just didn't know how that all came about. That was before I was on the board, so. And before most of us were, it was about actually everybody here. So, and Barbara, Barbara would have had knowledge of that.
Yeah.
So.
I'll call her, I'll ask her about that specifically, because yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So can we have him
draft a letter to the town board regarding our concerns with the historic, the historic overlay district, and adding regulations that would be, helpful for us to review.
give us architectural review at our discretion in that historic zone?
Yes.
In historic districts in the town.
At our discretion.
In case there are-
Yeah, so there's no loopholes for them to.
I'll have a draft for you to review and approve
tomorrow?
at the next meeting. Tomorrow.
But just to be clear,
By 10 o'clock.
I realize the historic districts, there may be other criteria to be considered that go beyond architectural review.
Isn't though on those.
Well, it could be setbacks from the street, minimum setbacks. I mean, there could be a number of things that I think should be looked at.
I think there
If we're coming up with codes.
There are two ways to go forward, right? There's adding architectural review of single-family structures to the existing historic protection code. And what you're talking about would be the town board considering building out and approving a historic overlay where there could be additional bulk requirement, additional bulk setbacks or subdivision requirements, or, I mean, there's a long list of things that could.
An entire set of guidelines.
Yeah, but if I remember right, one of the comments in there is too, is that it should not conform, but it should, basically fit in with its surroundings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of that would be then, if all the houses are, of a certain, certain size or a certain style, certain, setbacks from the road, things like that. I mean, that would then comply at that point. That would give us some guidelines to kind of give the applicant some direction.
Give the applicant some direction. They would also have to argue against those guidelines to convince you that they satisfy them, right?
Yeah.
They would show you a study of surrounding area, show you pictures, and then show you what they're proposing, and,
Exactly.
So things I think we're suggesting a two-part review by the town board. One specifically to bring one-family homes in this section under architectural review, and a second to consider an overlay that can look at, formal codifying it and look at other design guidelines to be considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, I agree with that. Yeah. And again, I don't remember, back with that overlay district. I don't ever remember hearing about it. I just noticed it on the zoning map that was on the, that's on the website. I was like, it kind of threw me because I don't ever remember noticing that before.
I've never heard of a proposed district.
Right, yeah. Usually it's marked on there as proposed because the town board was contemplating something.
Or was in the process
And that was given to, it was given to the board to make a decision. And it seems like it never made it to the finish line. So maybe there is some additional information that's out there.
I'll speak to Barbara both about the application that you were talking about, the mansion that got demolished.
Right, the mansion got demolished and rebuilt.
And reconstructed, and what that process looked like, and also the history of that proposed overlay district.
Yep, okay. And maybe, and as I said, that might have been something that was, from back then that they were, they were contemplating, putting into the code. But
It could be that, yeah, I'll ask her about that. Because if it was one of the contributing structures to the historic district,
Yeah.
SHPO might have been, the reason that they had to come in and.
Yeah, I remember, I wasn't on the board at that time, but I do remember hearing about it after the fact, actually directly from Richard Thurston when he was supervisor. I remember he had brought it up during, a discussion.
Was he supervisor when he tore?
No, it was prior to him being supervisor, yeah. Yep, so that was kind of interesting, but that was my, kind of my knowledge about it, so. But I think Barbara would be a key, she'd be a key person to get the information from. All right, so did we make a motion? We didn't make a motion, did we, to draft the?
I'll make that motion to.
All right, hold on, but.
No, go ahead.
Sorry.
Not
Did you
going
have
to
something
impact
to
the vote.
contribute? No, okay, all right. So with that, you made the motion made?
I'll second that.
Okay, motion seconded. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
What I was going to say is is it still a question whether or not the historic district will impact this lot line realignment? Or
I don't think that's a question anymore, unless something comes up from what Barbara tells me about, a process that happened on this mansion, but I don't think so.
No, I mean, it's not, there's no building going up. So,
Right.
I mean, it's just moving the lines around.
I think that the letter that we're talking about, none of what we have discussed will impact the project, the lot line realignment that is before you.
Correct, okay. All right,
So I know that the public hearing was left open, but if that is the determination that there's no impact, does it, in fairness to the applicant, does it make sense to have at least authorize Malcolm to draft a resolution of approval? I don't know if that's, just so we don't hold them up for another month?
No, it has no impact, so. It's up to you.
At this point in the process, there's no impact, so, all right. So at this point,
Just before, but I think the resolution, I'd suggest, reflects some of this discussion as well as the separate letter that will be sent to the planning board.
I don't think we should do a resolution until we finish the public hearing.
okay.
Good point.
I was just putting it out there
Okay,
for you, the
all
boards.
right.
Yep.
I mean, we leave it open, like I said, we could leave it open-ended at this point, close the public hearing, make the decision at that point to move forward. That also gives us about a month's time, too, so if Malcolm can draft something.
Right, have it drafted.
Yeah, he could draft a letter, I mean,
Not voting on it until after the public hearing anyway, right?
yeah, so if he wants to draft it, or do we want to send the letter prior to the next meeting?
I'd like to send it prior.
Okay.
Right.
So if he drafts it, submits it to all of us, anybody has any comments?
Yeah. I can have a draft of that letter and circulate it to you by email.
Cool.
And get
Okay.
feedback.
Okay.
All right.
Short term.
That'll be good, yeah, quick.
All right, and then we'll go from there, and then we'll get that off to the town board. All right? So, and we won't, there's not going to move forward, we'll wait till the public hearing, and then we'll go from there.
Yep.
On this item. Okay, so I think we're good. All right. No more on this one, so let's move on to, I think we got one more item here, which is the Wakari subdivision across the street. Looks like he's requesting another extension.
He's had a lot of extensions.
Yeah.
Still at the water, the sewer thing.
It's still with the border.
I have his Mylar here for you to sign,
For which one?
the card.
Okay.
We're doing the extension out, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I know everybody else has reviewed that?
I believe, got sign offs from everybody, that, what's his name? Kyle Lawrence.
Okay.
It looks like.
Must have been a while ago then.
Yeah, it was a while.
Oh, okay. All right. I just don't remember.
Okay.
If you got a sign off from us, then we're good, I'm sure, but it must have been a while.
Yeah, let's step back here too, because that's another thing I've been kind of like asking when I go in the office. So like when you guys do the compliance review letters and you're signing off at the end of the day, could you copy me on those emails?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You
just
want to
so
see it
that-
too? You want to go?
Yeah, not all of them, but I mean, like the one that you're gonna turn around and say, hey, everything is great, and you can go ahead and do it. If you could just at least copy me on it, so
The one who's
I
signing
kind of know what's
Yeah,
coming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Huh? Yeah, just to me. I don't need all the other back and forth stuff, it's just the final one. If I can get that, it would be greatly appreciated. It gives me the heads up of when B is going to call, and I can, make sure that I make the time to come down to sign them. All right. Okay. So anyway, with that, so let's back up a minute. So it is ready to go.
Yeah.
But this is just a formality because because he needs it it's a retroactive approval to, actually, I read it somewhere, November 14th. Okay. All right. So.
I make the motion to approve that.
Okay. Second. Motion is made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right. So that's all set and done. All right. So now we're down to the end of the agenda. There's nothing else on there for this evening. Do we have anything else we wish to discuss this evening? Okay. If not, then.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay.